跟每家都有10个人的。
正确佩戴口罩，咳嗽吗？正确佩戴口罩。
We looked at China and Hong Kong, for example. Their numbers have rocketed. That seems largely because they don't have or haven't had such a good booster program as the UK has. Israel is ahead of the UK in terms of its boosters, but the UK is a geographically small, densely populated country. So I'm not at all surprised that the numbers of infections have gone up like they have. You can get general effects on the rest of your system from your immune system trying to attack and destroy the virus. That's quite common in infectious diseases. So this expanded list of symptoms, we've known that there are lots of other symptoms associated with COVID for quite some time now. So it's really about time, I think entirely appropriate that they get added to the list. Well, in parts of the UK, in England, we're getting it's about 1 in 13 people infected at the moment or over recent weeks. And there are older people becoming infected. We've seen it in other age groups as well, although the numbers go up and down. So basically, everybody has or is being infected by this. But when you remove the measures that were put in place by the government to keep infection down, it stands to reason that in their absence, if they did anything at all, and I'm quite sure they did, those infection numbers will go back up. But the consequences for that are quite different from what they were 2 years ago. You get different versions of Omicron. When we go from one Greek letter to the other, that's quite a big jump in the biology of the virus. These are more subtle changes. And with, for example, BA2, it seems that we have a fitter, more able virus that's able to pass from person to person. Other variants might be just as transmissible as what's gone before, or maybe slightly less, and they'll not be very successful at all, and they'll probably die out pretty quickly. There's a lot to be learned about this recombinant virus. This is where two viruses have got together and combined their genetic material, and you end up with a mosaic. It seems at the moment that it is not as fit and as successful as BA2, although I think it's still fairly early days. In terms of its ability to cause disease, you can't really judge that until you've got a fair number of people infected. That's a much more difficult determination to make. It's still early days looking at the Israeli experience, but it does appear to have some effect. I wouldn't call it no effect, but we are just, I think, topping up the immunity of the most vulnerable people there, doing as much as we can. There seems to be this idea that endemic is an end point and that it will be a good thing to have. I don't see why that is, because what it means is that it is here all the time and everywhere. So this idea that's been bandied around that endemic is a happy place to be. It's not. I mean, HIV is endemic in many parts of sub-Saharan Africa. Things like malaria and TB are endemic in parts of the world. That does not mean they don't take a very serious bite out of healthcare systems and cause a lot of misery.